So this is, okay, a regular meeting of the Monroe County Solid Waste Management District Citizens Advisory Committee. The third Thursday of October the 19th, 2023. We are at 5:40 p.m. Vice Chair call roll. Here.
John Arnold,
Present.
Matt Austin,
Present.
Ryan Edwards here. Bill Goins, absent. Bradley Lucas, absent. And Paul White.
Here.
Thank you.
All right, we do have a forum. The agenda for today was sent out by email on Monday the 16th. Are there any objections to adopting it as possible to see on the screen share, but as was distributed in email?
It looked fine to me when I read it.
Okay, seeing none, the agenda is adopted, and then share. Bring us to our first order of business, which is the approval of meeting minutes of the September 21st regular meeting. Those are included in the packet of the agenda. Are there any corrections to those minutes as distributed? Great. Done, those are approved. That brings us to reports, starting with the district.
Yeah, a whole lot this month. Our budget was unanimously adopted by the county council this past Tuesday. So once that happens, the auditor's office, we have the county budget, our budget, our fire protection budget. They have confirmed that everything is in the state's gateway website. It needs to be all uploaded and confirm everything is accurate and correct, and they will submit budget approved adopted budgets to the state, and then we're good to go. So we're just kind of waiting on that confirmation from the auditor's office that everything on the back end of that is done. We have, I don't know if the first load gone already or not, but we have started moving glass over to the front facility here. Questions were raised by potential haulers of that material. So we do currently have a request for quote that was sent out to our current hauler, the Rumpy and the Republic. We intended just to move forward with KNS to pull off our current hauler going to Indianapolis. They given us a price, and to haul locally, obviously it was substantially cheaper, and so we were moving forward with that. And then questions were raised about why others weren't given that opportunity. Did quote that, so we put that out. But, in the meantime, we're moving forward under not a contract. We had a hauling price established with KNS roll-off, so they're going to move it, and when the quotes come back, if there is a better option available, we may switch over to a different hauler. In the meantime, it is going to Rumpke. I know we have some loads scheduled to go this week. I just don't know if any of it picked up. That's the glass, yes.
That's just a general information given out to all haulers.
Well, this is a request for quote. This is not a formal bidding process. This is a service, and our glass hauling. This is not hundreds of thousands of dollars below any threshold in the state that would require a formal bid or formal process. So in order to try to streamline things, we've identified local haulers that might express interest, or we think, have capabilities of filling our need. We're not a once a month pickup here. So we've identified those entities, sent them to request for quote, ask for those back next week and see what we get back and move forward. Regardless, the glass is going to go to Rumpke here locally moving forward. One change that's going to make it our facilities that hopefully will make things easier on people, but Rumpke does not care if the glass is sorted. Yeah. So for their purposes, separating the colored and the clear glass, the majority of the glass, they take those to the fiberglass facilities. So it doesn't really matter. So it's going to help us for, you know, at our rural facilities, you know, we currently have one bin that has a divider in the middle, colored on one side, clear on the other. Well, inevitably one side fills up faster than the other, so you wind up hauling full colored load with half of a clear load. So we're not going to worry about splitting it up anymore. It's all just going to go in. It's easier on the customers. Should help us be more efficient with our hauling and the, you know, the volumes that we're hauling. So hopefully that will work. The plan at our South Walnut facility, where we actually have two bins, one for clear and one for colored, is that we are going to pull one of those and just have the one closed top 40-yard for all glass. That will give us an extra so that whoever ultimately hauling it will have that spare box so that they can just drop it empty whenever they go and pick up. And then we don't have a facility that's minus a glass box for 40 minutes when they run and come back. And then we're going to bring a smaller A-top in, because at that site we currently have a split box for aluminum cans and steel cans. So we're just going to have a box for aluminum and a box for steel cans at the South Walnut facility. Joy and I, you know, reviewed all of that, and I think in the end, it's, you know, should be pretty simple for our users to figure out, and ultimately should make us, with regard to hauling materials, more efficient.
What are we currently doing with fiberglass itself, if anything?
Can't be able to, don't have anybody that's taking.
And the fiberglass creators can't recreate the fiberglass.
And then I don't, you know, I don't know the last time that was specifically investigated. We can inquire about it, but to my knowledge, we don't have anybody that's doing that. And
Well, I guess
then, of course, if we find somebody that's doing it, then we got to figure out how to cut. You know, how would it? It's kind of like styrofoam. You know, styrofoam can be recycled. You know, but the closest place that would take it is down in North Vernon, and I got to have it separated. You know, a truckload of styrofoam is only going to weigh a ton, because I don't have a way to condense it. There are condensers out there, and we can look at doing that, but we have some logistics and space issues. You know, getting that equipment, but it's kind of like some of the other materials where, yeah, it is recyclable, but you know, the logistics of us collecting it and the cost of getting it to who is doing that recycling are just kind of insurmountable at this time. But there are, you know, things that we're aware of and we continue to look at, and we might potentially look at it.
And you said North Vernon's close, like closer than Recycle Force after that?
No, actually, Recycle Force would be closer, but I don't know if they're doing the fiber. Well,
Oh, I was just talking about the styrofoam.
How far is North Vernon?
Is that Evansville or Columbus?
Columbus and Cincinnati.
Okay.
As the crow flows, I mean, I'm not real sure, and on the drive, I don't, but
It's,
It's 50 miles, so it's,
I'm thinking 7, so.
yeah,
you know, but again, you know, that just the logistics of us collecting it separately from everything else that we do.
Right, yeah.
Commingled. You know, a condenser would be ideal, but we still have to collect it separately at all the facilities, bring it to whatever facility has that condenser at. You know, otherwise, you know, even compacted styrofoam, it still weighs nothing.
Right.
I had asked the question because I'm here late, was just seeing an immense amount of fiberglass going into landfill.
And I don't know for sure. I would say that there are probably areas where it can be recycled or reused or repurposed. I'm just not aware of anything in the area that would be feasible for us to try to use it on. But we can certainly inquire. I have not specifically talked about that with Rumpke, who, I said they source the recycled glass to fiberglass manufacturers, so that question to throw out to them.
Yeah, I think even when we were touring the Rumpke landfill, that I saw fiberglass going out there as well.
And again, it's one of those materials that even if there is somebody doing it, the logistics of getting it collected and separated, because nobody's going to want it with the glass bottles.
Right.
Obviously not with plastic and cardboard. So it's something that has to be handled separately. It's great logistical issue. Other than that,
Kind of like the difference between that pressed form plastic and the bottles.
what's that?
There's gonna be kind of like the difference between the pressed form plastic containers and the plastic bottles. Yeah.
Otherwise, we're amping up for end of year stuff, which is always a fun time. And I don't see anything about rebranding on here. I didn't know if you were going to do anything about that in your report or not.
General status update.
So I get the rebranding up is moving forward at this point. We do anticipate taking a resolution to the board at the November 9th meeting for the board to formally approve and adopt the name change effective in January 1. But having that resolution by the board will allow staff to move forward with making notifications and working with the IRS, the Secretary of State, Security Exchange Commission because of our debt, and get that name change process moving with all of them to hopefully the most seamless transition possible come January. So that's where we are.
Thanks, John. Questions? Thanks. Bringing those two reports for the chair. The only thing I had to note was that Matt and I and Tom attended the AISW annual conference. Good experience. I really enjoyed it. Appreciate it. Nothing really specific to report back to the THC, but just a note that it happened.
How many times did you say and or in your report? Okay.
I will add that I got some comments from very appreciative of Joe's willingness, to participate in that session of the conference. A lot of them found a lot of your comments and getting to see how you view the interactions with the district as beneficial to them.
Good. Yeah, any questions?
Yeah.
Please.
My takeaway was, man, everybody's working really, really hard and there's not as much support as they'd like to have. So they're always shocked at how active CSC members in Bloomington are. I don't know how to. We're Bloomington. We do it how we do it, right? I just don't know how they would get more activity out of their CSC. But I did really enjoy seeing the camaraderie and learning more about what other solid waste districts are doing and trying to do, kind of what their pet projects are and whatnot. So they are doing good things. But yeah, the support is needed by residents for them.
We're very lucky in Monroe County with not just community support, but political support as well. Other counties just don't have that.
And I learned that what an amazing, awesome person we have here in Tom. Everybody has a high level of respect for him, and I learned that he has has way more skills than I could have ever imagined.
Prove them all.
Yeah. Oh, dear leader. Oh, dear leader.
I think the one thing I see from, as I go around, people are actually amazed that in Monroe County, that we have citizens who are actually interested in what's going on with solid waste. We don't have that over here. And it's, well, maybe you should be talking to your solid waste board. Because if, as a citizen, these boards are supposed to be somewhat, at least, representative of the citizenry. And as a citizens advisory committee, I think our board actually takes our considerations into account when they make decisions on such.
In my report.
Absolutely.
Kind of dawned on me while we're sitting here and talking about this county. That county. I did report to the board last week at their meeting. Morgan County, unfortunately, recently closed their recycling. Our district has been absorbed by the county, so the solid waste district has a standalone entity doesn't need to be put there anymore. And they've begun or have closed all of their facilities. So the result is we're seeing more activity from Morgan County residents down here. I do know Johnson County is seeing that increase as well. And I told the board at this time, we don't want to discourage anybody from from recycling or properly disposing of household hazardous waste. On that HHW side, we already are used to dealing with out-of-county residents. So we do have a fee structure in place for those customers whose taxes aren't supporting them. But on the recycling end of it, with regard to the orange bag trash, we're kind of going to let things go and we're going to see what happens. We don't want to discourage anybody. So we'll see what kind of a change it makes in our volumes, how that impacts finances and costs. And if down the road that we have to consider trying to find a way to restrict who's using our facilities, we'll do that. But at this time, I don't want to do that because I don't want to discourage those people from continuing to recycle who've lost the ability to do so.
Question about that is, does the state statute still obligate the county then to process household hazardous waste? I thought that was one of the few specified requirements that a district must serve.
Well, I kind of threw a household hazardous waste in there because we're used to it. We get, HHW is in there, it has its own specific section. I can't unfortunately cite that for the top of my head, but just because we do it doesn't mean everybody's required to do it. We do a substantial, I guess, for our HHW program is substantial compared to many others around the state. And so I think I think it was at a county, at one of the county council meetings with the budget that came up about HHW and, out of county residents and supporting, them. And, we have the fee structure in place. We have done things that I don't currently have anything in place, but with other districts where we've allowed them to collect materials and then bring them to our facility. We have processes and vendors set up where we can pack them appropriately for transportation. We've acted as a hub at times in the past. I'm certainly still willing to do that again in the future. But we do a lot more.
We try to see who the end users were and to connect with them, like knowing that Recycle Force does the cook thing, see who takes the paint. That for me, kind of connecting the dots was very, very helpful.
Yeah, there's a handful of vendors there. So there's processes. questions on either of those reports? Right, so we don't really have anything to touch on for the rebranding special committee since that's going through the board process. No special orders for this month, no unfinished business, and no scheduled new business. Are there any new business items that anyone have in mind for today's meeting that was not provided prior to the distribution?
Pumpkin houses?
Conversation, but probably not really germane to work of the district. You have one item during or by the end of the year to include the prior notice for the attendance planning method, since our attendance has been consistent enough and we've had enough of in-person, less attendance on remote attendance, that I think it would potentially be sufficient to switch to a, if you cannot attend, then you provide notification rather than a notification for all cases. So,
Well, so it's an assumption that you're attending and if you're not.
right. So that's just, again, that's something I was thinking of, something to maybe keep in mind. I don't have any.
That's the way it used to be.
Yeah, and I think that as long as that's how everyone operates, that's a fine way to do it as well. The problem is just there wasn't generally that communication when there wasn't attendance. And that's what became problematic. So I think that now that there's been a almost year-long history of good attendance planning and input, I think it would potentially possible to switch back to the previous method in, I would think January would be a reasonable time, but something I'll maybe put on the agenda for next month.
I would just offer, given the hybrid meeting and the requirements of hybrid meeting, whether or not somebody's attending in person or virtually would be important to know for.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point. So it would, again, I haven't thought all the way through this yet. It would be if you're unable to attend or planning to attend virtually, it would also be worth reporting. Since so far everyone is, I think, particularly in the last 6 months, almost or exclusively attended in person. So knowing either of those would be important. So thank you for that. But yeah, that's something I would suggest thinking about. My one item on business.
You want me to implement that? You said you wanted to wait until January.
Yeah, I think no changes for now. We'll make a motion for a change. Early thought. Yeah. See if anybody ends up thinking it's a great idea or a terrible idea and talk about that. If there are no other items of business, yes.
I'll bring a new business item. But with the rebranding and the name change, we're starting to work with the consultant on, media listen campaign, here it is, it's coming, here it is. That might also present an opportunity to do some things to try to recruit some new CAC members and grow the CAC. Think about, offer any ideas that could be incorporated into the that campaigning that we'll be doing regarding the name change that might entice somebody to join the CAC. Try to incorporate.
Will there be radio and or television commercials promoting this?
Television is going to be a little harder to do just because of the time of producing the video.
Yeah.
There'll certainly be radio stuff, PSAs, potentially newspaper. That unfortunately, that's just doesn't have the reach that it used to. But I know that there's still included a number of people that at least the Herald Times on Herald HT Online is a regular news source. So but yeah, there will look at putting it out many places as we can. Obviously, social media.
That's a very good idea.
If we're gonna do voice box for it on the radio. I wouldn't mind ordering it out.
Well, why do I need radio? You're loud.
Because,
We just put you on top of the
because
building.
I know, but they don't want me to do that at 4 a.m. after I wake up. They really prefer those to be throughout the day when I be unavailable to do them.
And I appreciate that, and I think that that's something that we could consider, because, imagine there are gonna be multiple different PSAs and stuff put out, so a variety of voices doesn't hurt.
Yards, finer signs at each site, where at each recycling waste collection site. Because those are people that use the services that might
Yeah,
see it.
we're gonna have, there will be postings at the facility,
Right.
whether or not we're gonna produce, a semi-permanent large sign that would get sit on the gate or something like that. That,
Yeah, I was talking
That
about
might
the
be-
recruiting side, then just the name change, obviously the name
Oh.
change is gonna happen, but I was talking about having the recruiting side as well, trying to get more states and members, having that posted.
we could, I mean, there is,
Because-
and unfortunately, I guess, it's not, out there where it's in people's faces, but there is materials about the CAC at all the facilities. But, like at the rural sites, we have a bunch of the old, I think that they're not, most of them green. Used to be they used to be all around town, and one of the pre-ad magazines used to be, I don't know. So we have a bunch of those, and there's, one of those at all the sites that has a variety of things in it about the district and its service.
No, always borrow from the Masons. Be one, ask one.
But, I'm open to, yeah. You guys want to produce your own flyer that we could laminate or whatever and play more prominently at the recycling centers, that's certainly something that we, with regard to doing it in the next few months during the rebranding or down the road whenever. Always open to suggestions to do things to try to, promote the CAC recruitment members.
I could potentially see once the solid waste district board approves of the rebranding name. I could potentially see us doing a radio spots for the Go Green District, soon will be changing its name or whatever to Let's Go Recycle. Be looking for changes soon.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what we, we plan on doing.
Yeah.
Exactly how it's phrased and what information
Right.
you give and don't give, but yeah, putting it, we're changing, coming. That's what that's gonna be is what we're starting to work on right now.
I remember hearing radio spots for one of our tire changing places here in town, where they were moving from one place to another, it was a, we will soon be moving to, and it made sense, and later we're now here. So.
Any other items? Absence of any, that brings us to public comment. Don't see any members of the public on Zoom. So that will bring us to our reminder that our next meeting will be on Thursday, November 16th at 5:30 p.m. Showers Building North, room 100B, West Park. And if there are no objections, this meeting will adjourn. And proceed on, so we are adjourned. You ready? Minute before we end the meeting.